Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $20,000 Modern Invitational here in sunny Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Miriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
We have 5 rounds down, 2 more Swiss to bring you before we get to the elimination rounds. Players are battling it out for the first place prize of $4,000. Their likeness on a token created by RK Post, which is a huge honor,
Yeah, that's going to be
and
really cool.
an eternal glory in this giant trophy. So a lot on the line. These players are deep into the day, and we are coming to the last few rounds where we'll be picking all of our top 8. Ross, why don't you tell us what we'll be watching in round number 6?
Well, so far, the metagame is broken down into three distinct sections. There's a lot of Boros energy, there's a lot of Amulet Titan, and then there's the rest. Uh,
Other.
yes. So we're going to be watching a lot of the other category to see if they can break up this duopoly. And we'll be starting with who we saw last round, Brandon Lex on that Soultrader deck. Had a rough go of it in round 5 after his 4-0 start, but he's got another chance to get that 5th win and enter the top 8. It's going to be a tough one for him, though. He's playing Ryan Bellamy, the Amulet Killer. Actually lost the Amulet Mirror last round to TJ Radizak. So
Yeah.
TJ establishing a little Amulet dominance there in the Swiss. We'll see if Ryan Bellamy can avoid the 4-0-0-2.
Well, the two players are just about ready. Before we head down there, I want to talk a little bit about Ryan Bellamy. So, the last time we were here, Bellamy won both events, the team event and a solo, both playing Amulet Titan. Watching him play, it's very obvious that he's well versed with the strategy, knows a lot of the permutations that are required to win. What we don't know is how his deck performs against Warren Soultrader combo, a relatively easy to assemble combo deck, and neither player is very interactive, and so it'll be interesting to see who's able to take it down. But without further ado, let's head on down for round number 6.
Lexus deck capable of winning as early as turn 3. Doesn't have the unearths that could allow sometimes for a turn 2 kill.
Okay,
But
and we're off. Looks like we're on the play here as Brandon Lex on Soultrader. And a quick fetch with Verdant Catacombs means we finally have a 1-drop. We watched Brandon Lex last round get pummeled by Boros. Didn't play a 1-drop either game. And got all of his 2-drops just decimated by removal.
yeah, here he's going to be able to do his thing, but he's got to do it quickly. So starting with a 1-drop, very important. Fetch up the Overgrown Tomb, go to 17. That doesn't matter. Let's get onto the battlefield.
Okay.
And that is a Gravecrawler.
Oh, I've never seen that art before. Very cool.
Yeah.
Gravecrawler. Let's get Gravecrawler on the screen. This is one that's very important to the combo. It's a 2/1 zombie. Can't block. You can cast it from the graveyard, but only if you have another zombie in play. Warren Soultrader, though, that's a zombie.
Indeed. And so those two are the backbone of most of this deck's combos. So turn on Gravecrawler is a very nice start. I see
Okay.
a Malevolent Rumble in Lex's hand.
We can do that, digging for various combo pieces. I did see Birthing Ritual as well. Okay, top 4 cards here.
It's like another Gravecrawler, an Agatha Soul Cauldron, a land of some
I believe
kind.
that's Underground Mortuary, so it's tapped land.
Then I'm not sure what that black card between the Gravecrawler and the Soul Cauldron is.
I think it's Butcher Ghoul. Not quite sure. Actually, it looks like a 1-drop. Maybe that's the alternate art Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so if that's Stitcher Supplier, which it looks like because it only costs 1 mana, this is 1/1 for 1. When it comes into play or dies, you mill 3 cards. It's also a zombie. It's a great way to find more copies of your zombies.
And I see Warren Soultrader in hand, but does he have the Marionette Apprentice or the... it has to be Marionette Apprentice. So with land 3 Apprentice, this would be a combo.
Okay.
Because Lex could play land 3, use the spawn to cast Soultrader, leaving up a black mana, then sack the Gravecrawler for a treasure, use the treasure plus the extra black mana to play Apprentice, make a servo token, and then use a servo token to start the loop, recasting Gravecrawler.
All right. So Lex here, contemplating maybe Birthing Ritual. It's a bit slower because it triggers on the end step, and I don't think he has the ability to combo without casting Gravecrawler.
Yeah, because it's a cast, you can only combo at sorcery speed.
Okay, so I believe this is the Stitcher Supplier, and yes, now we have confirmation, so we're going to mill 3 cards. So many printings of these cards these days, I apologize. It's hard to tell sometimes.
The mill is Supplier, Land, Marionette Apprentice. Without Unearth, Lex doesn't really have ways to access those cards in the graveyard.
Maybe just wants a little more material for things like Birthing Ritual. Oh, here's Phyrexian Tower, and we're going to sacrifice the Stitcher Supply. We're going to make 2 black mana. 3 cards being milled again.
Just 2 lands and a Boggart Trawler, so nothing relevant there for Lex. Looks like he does have a Flare of Malice in hand, so that could potentially take out a Primeval Titan and stop Bellamy on a combo turn.
Yeah, I think that'd be a nice hit. All right, so 2 black floating. We have the Spawn, or the Scion, and we have Verdant Catacombs. Let's see how Brandon wants to use the rest of this mana. We have Grist, Birthing Ritual, Soultrader, and Flare. A lot of great options.
It's tough because you could play the Birthing Ritual to try to dig for the 3rd combo piece, but you also want to make sure you have a black creature on the battlefield for Flare of Malice.
Okay, that's fair. So here's where I think we can really get some stuff going. The Warren Soultrader plus the Gravecrawler doesn't make like extra mana. It does make 1 extra mana, but not if you are chaining it, right? Because you sack 1 to make 1 to spend 1. But we can play Soultrader. We can sacrifice the Spawn and the Gravecrawler, and then we can play Birthing Ritual. Maybe that's something, maybe not, and then we just try to kill next turn. I don't think we have a kill this turn.
Okay, so going for... Oh, yeah, it has the other Gravecrawler. So this is nice. Birthing Ritual, recast Gravecrawler. Now he can dig towards a Marionette Apprentice or a Blood Artist to set up for a combo next turn and still have an extra Gravecrawler to sack to the Flare of Malice for a potential Primeval Titan.
Nice. Cool sequence. Okay. So we can sack to get a Stitcher Supplier here just to get some more material in the graveyard. Maybe find Bloodghast. Don't see the black combo card, the Marionette Apprentice.
One of them was milled over. There's 2 others in the deck, and also 1 Blood Artist.
Okay. Once again, Birthing Ritual. Not really doing what it's advertising to do. He's not even going to sack. Just doesn't even want it. Doesn't want to accidentally mill over 2 more Marionette Apprentice and lose. Your go.
Now, one of these sagas is going to turn into an Amulet of Vigor, and Bellamy just shortcutting there, checking up the 1-on-1 to 3.
It's an old Ether Vial trick.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to float a mana off the Saga, and it's going to go get Amulet. And Bellamy here, just kind of thinking before things start really popping off, wants to stare at his hand a little bit. We find the Amulet.
Does he have enough gas to go off this turn, or does he need to wait for the 2nd Saga to find an Amulet as well?
You don't see too many combo turns with Amulet Titan that only involve 1 Amulet of Vigor. It's usually 1 Amulet of Vigor can certainly win if you have enough starting mana, like 5 or 6 to start, 4, sometimes 4, whatever. Yeah. The 2nd Amulet turns all of your lands into double mana.
Bellamy would have to have Bounce Land, Arboreal Grazer, and Lotus Field to get to 6, I think.
Okay, so our land for returns Gruul Turf. We're going to return itself, and then we're going to play Spelunking. So now we have 0 floating, so I don't think we're going to be comboing this turn.
Just thinking about his land sequence here.
See which land he wants to put in. He's got a couple of options.
This might be the most I've ever seen Bellamy tank.
Well, usually he tanks when he is not killing you, right? Because he's trying to figure out, how do I kill you later?
And that's Echoing Deeps.
Okay, and it looks like we're going to copy a land in an opposing graveyard. Probably, maybe Verdant Catacombs, so we can put it into the graveyard and go get one of our Surveil lands.
Yeah. Likely looking for access to green mana some way so that he can channel Boseiju on the Birthing Ritual.
All right, well, Ross, I hate to break it, but I do believe Brennan Lex just drew Marionette Apprentice, and I think finally we're going to see Warren Soultrader combo win a game.
Yeah. this should be pretty straightforward. Lex is thinking about if he wants to attack. It doesn't really need to, and doesn't want to accidentally run a Gravecrawler into a construct token. If there's some way Bellamy can do that.
All right, we're going to start by sacking Gravecrawler for 2 off the Phyrexian Tower. Sack the Scion. We're going to play Warren Soultrader, and then that gives us enough mana to play Marionette Apprentice. And now we go Gravecrawler, 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 and then we can. I guess we have less life. That's
so, Apprentice triggers off of the artifacts leaving 2, so
double.
Lex is fine, yeah.
Okay.
He's going to lose 8 life to Bellamy's 16.
All right.
Yeah. Sack the Servo for a treasure. Lex goes down to 13. That triggers the Apprentice. Bellamy down to 15. Then you sack the treasure for mana. Bellamy goes down to 14. That doesn't cost you a life. And that's where the edge comes from.
Yeah, and while we're slightly behind on life, 2 per instead of 1 per, and that's going to do it. Brandon Lex takes game number 1. As these players are reaching for their sideboard, Ryan Bellamy is going to need some help. This Warden Soultrader combo deck is quite fast. A lot of ways to dig for the combo. How is he going to approach this potentially powerful combo deck?
Yeah, probably not one that was much on his radar. So let's take a look at his sideboard. It is 1 Aether Spellbomb, 1 Bojuka Bog, 1 Boseiju Who Endures, 1 Colossal Sky Turtle, 1 Defense Grid, 1 Dismember, 1 Endurance, 2 Fire Spout, 2 Force of Vigor, 1 Hydroid Krasis, 1 Mystical Dispute, 1 Radiant Fountain, and 1 Vexing Bauble. The interesting thing here is that the Graveyard Hate isn't great in this matchup. I think you bring it in because it's pretty low cost to have a Bojuka Bog and an Endurance, but Lex isn't playing the Unearths. He's playing Cauldron, so you can shut that down to the Graveyard Hate. But it's not a slam dunk. I do think you want Dismember, instant speed answer to the Warren Soultrader. And then Fire Spout is also awkward. You know, this deck has a lot of cheap creatures, but they come back from the graveyard, or it being a sorcery means that you can't interrupt a combo if Lex is patient and doesn't deploy Soultrader too early. So I'm a maybe on those. I think Bellamy might be best served by staying the course and being as fast as possible.
Okay, on the other side of things, we have Brandon Lex on that Warren Soultrader combo deck. What does he have in his sideboard that can maybe interact with the lands or other powerful cards out of Ryan Bellamy's Amulet Titan deck?
He's got some good ones. There's an Abrupt Decay, a Damping Sphere, a Dothy Voidwalker, a third Flare of Malice, 2 Fulminator Mage, 2 Haywire Might, 3 Orcish Bowmasters, a Plague Engineer, 2 Thoughtseize, and a Toxic Deluge. I like the Thoughtseizes, I like the Haywire Mites, I like the Fulminator Mages, I like the third Flare of Malice, and I love the Damping Sphere. And
I do want to say that I love the Plague Engineer, but not in this matchup. I just love that it's there.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too much of him in a while.
So that's 8 or 9 cards that I can easily see coming in for Brandon Lex. He could just morph into a bit of an aggro deck that still has the threat of the combo, because he has a lot of good disruptive elements for this matchup in his sideboard.
Okay. Well, as these players are finishing their sideboarding and shuffling up for game number 2, I'd like to say thank you to one of our sponsors for today's event. Ultimate Guard is the industry leader in TCG supplies, from the archive deck box to the katana sleeves. Make sure to check your local game store for Ultimate Guard products today. Ross, we got round 6 underway. One more round after this. Tell us about some of the players that are in the hunt.
Well, there are 2 players that took a draw this round at 5-0 and have locked up their spots in the top 8. That's Michael Kowalczyk, who we saw defeat Brandon Lex last round on Boros Energy, and TJ Radizak on Amulet Titan, who beat Bellamy last round in the Amulet Mirror. So congratulations to both of those players. There is another 5-0 player, that's John Tagliarini. He unfortunately was paired down this round to Jesse Hill. That's a Boros Energy versus Belcher matchup. The rest of the players at 4-1, a lot of energy and a lot of Amulet.
Yeah.
We had 5 Amulet Titan decks in the field today, and 4 of them are still live for the top 8.
That's a 6 statistic.
Yeah, we got 3 4-1s and a 5-0 among those 5.
Now, we did have 8 players that started off with a bye in this event, Ross, the Apex Predators, so to speak. Those 8 players, how many of them are still alive?
We have 2 that are 4-1 or better. There's a chance at some 5 and 2 sneaking in, so all of the rest of them are at X and 2.
Okay.
But the ones that with a very strong chance of getting in are Ryan Hayes and Ryan Bellamy, who you see on your screen. He's the number 7 player on the leaderboard this year.
Okay, so rocky day for our leaderboard players, but not out of it yet. Ryan Hayes still hopeful. Ryan Bellamy still hopeful. Both these players with 1 loss, and a second loss here is rough. Maybe not tournament ending, but really, really tough. Players about ready for game number 2. On your left in the back of the table, you see Ryan Bellamy, our double open champion from last event. The only player to my recollection that's won back-to-back opens here on the Apex series.
He is indeed unique in that respect.
And on your right, Brandon Lex with that Soultrader combo. We watched him win game number 1, so he will be on the draw here. Let's see if Bellamy has an opener he can keep. No, throws it back. Warren Soultrader from Brandon Lex also goes back. 6 cards for both coming.
Both players looking for explosive starts are willing to mulligan aggressively to get to it.
While they're shuffling, I'd like to say thank you to some more of our sponsors. Thank you to Ghost Energy. Keeps us hydrated and energized on these long tournament weekends. The Apex Invitational is sponsored by Wings Etc. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub has sports on TV, good food. We'll be there. Well, we were there last night. We might be there tonight. We'll see. And last but not least, thank you to SpiceRack.gg. If you're looking to play or run a tournament in the near future, make sure to check out SpiceRack.gg, and you can do exactly that. 6 card hands coming for both. I think I see an Amulet, maybe 2 in Bellamy's hand. I think the other card was a Fire Spout. It looks like he's putting the Fire Spout back. Might not need it when you're on the play. Fire Spout also, and sweepers in general, not great against the card Gravecrawler. It's very easy to rebuild.
Yeah.
But here's turn 1 Amulet. Both players keep in their 6.
That land is in Urza's Cave.
Okay. Turn 1 Gravecrawler. Both players having one of their marquee 1-drops.
I think that's the second Amulet in Bellamy's hand, which means this game could be over right now.
Oh, zoom, zoom, zoom. And he's thinking about it. Trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Scroll Turf, and we're going to return that one to hand. Floating 4. And Explore. So Explore with 2 floating. So that means if we hit Primeval Titan or Lumra, we can cast it here. Looks like Bellamy found Talaria West, so I don't think we can go this turn maybe, but I guess we could play the Simic Growth Chamber. No, we're just going to play Talaria West and say go. You're up. Maybe the land I thought was Simic Growth Chamber was the Hedge Maze, perhaps.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, going to go back to Brennan Lex. Attack with the Gravecrawler. Can't combo on turn 2 with this build, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you need Unearth for that.
Is there any Phyrexian Tower combo that can do it by chance?
No, because then you end up sacrificing the material for the mana.
Ah,
you can't start the loop.
Rats. Okay. What if I go turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, mill over 3 Bloodghast? Then I go Phyrexian Tower, Trader, sack 3 Bloodghast, play Gravecrawler, Marionette. Got him. Turn 2 kill.
You got me.
Woo! We found it! We found the kill. Sorry.
Honestly, I'm just impressed.
Alright, Gravecrawler gets in for 2. Gonna chomp. I don't know what this is. Can you help?
That's Blood Artist.
Alright, Blood Artist is the play from Brandon Lex, and go back to Bellamy.
That's a scary play. Soultrader next turn would be a kill.
Okay, let's see if Bellamy can win this turn or find some way to disrupt. One cool thing you can do here, Bellamy can play a bounce land and then sack Urza's Cave with 1 floating, and that can let him go get Lotus Field, which gets him up to 7 very quickly. Not sure exactly how that'll work, but I think that in general, the Urza's Cave is just like such a really sweet card in this strategy.
Bellamy thinking over his line. Knows he likely needs to kill this turn if he doesn't have any disruption.
Yeah, didn't have the super fast kill last game. This turn, or this time with 2 Amulet of Vigor. We've seen him win as early as turn 2 multiple times. He's just really thinking about this turn. This might be the last one he gets. We're going to start by... Thought he might float a blue. So there's no easy kill. Sometimes there's easy kills with double Amulet. Usually they involve Lotus Field. Alright, Gruul Turf 4 mana. Thanks to the Amulet untaps. We'll see which land he wants to return.
So this is 6 for a Primeval Titan, so Bellamy can't have Titan in hand. Maybe trying to find a line to get enough mana to transmute Teleria West. But even an Explore would only get him up to 8. He needs to get to 9 for the T-West line. Could also spend 4 mana sacking Cave for Lotus Field, and that would turn 4 mana into 6 mana.
Okay, so we're going to make green, green, red, red, and then blue from Talaria West. That's going to come back to hand.
Yeah, so an Explorer or a Arboreal Grazer or a Spelunking would allow for the Urza's Cave Lotus Field line.
All right, so we're going to spend... Let's get Urza's Cave up. I think it costs 3 to sacrifice, and you go get any land. It comes into play tapped. But with 2 Amulets, going to untap twice. And if it's the Lotus Field, and that means we're going to go up to... I believe that's 8 mana floating at that point. That means we can transmute Talaria West for Summoner's Pact, but we can't quite cast a Primeval Titan off of it.
Getting Simic Growth Chamber.
Okay.
So this is mana neutral. It's 3 and tapping the cave, so the cave that is 4 total mana really that you're spending.
So we must have just been short on blue
to net 4
for the Talaria West, and so we didn't want to sack the lands because we're not comboing this turn. I believe if we were comboing this turn, this would have been Lotus Field.
Bounces the Gruul Turf with the Growth Chamber after floating green-blue.
Okay.
Now can transmute.
Now, if this is just transmute for Summoner's Pact and pass turn, which it is, Brandon Lex can potentially win the game with a Worn Soultrader here. He has the other 2 pieces of the combo.
Yeah, I wonder if Bellamy took his time on that turn because he wanted to set this up while also leaving up Boseiju mana or some other piece of interaction.
I know he likes Dismember a lot, and that probably came in as well.
Yeah, could have the one of Dismember.
Well, Lex is doing the thing where you probably have the kill, but you don't want to lose to interaction, so he's thinking about what is the risk, what is the reward.
Yeah, could also have Colossal Sky Turtle to just buy him a turn.
And here's the Soultrader. Bellamy says resolves.
Okay.
Sack Gravecrawler. Deal you damage. Endurance. Eat it.
Okay, has the endurance. That'll take care of the Gravecrawler. Does Lex have a second copy?
Yeah, a second copy in hand means we can still go. He shuffled the 1 card. That's funny. Okay, drain you for 1 with Blood Artist.
Yeah, so Bellamy will go to 17. Lex will stay at 20 since he paid a life for the Soultrader and then gained it back with the Artist.
Okay, and I don't see another combo piece in hand. There's Boseiju, Soul Cauldron, and Haywire Might.
So Lex can play Haywire Might, and then worst comes to worst, sack the Blood Artist for another treasure to sack the Haywire Might and blow up one of the amulets if he needs to do that.
I think that has to be the play here. I think if you don't do that, you're just going to lose.
Yeah, it would leave him with very little behind since he just has Boseiju, Agatha Soul Cauldron remaining. Neither of his creatures is legendary, so he doesn't have enough mana to channel the Boseiju.
Yeah. So Bellamy needed 1 piece of interaction there, or else he was dead. Had it. Now we'll see if he can find the kill on the following turn. Lex here can shatter his own board position in order to slow down Bellamy, but I think that is a losing line. I think you were right.
And if he's forced to take that line, he gets punished for not attacking with the Gravecrawler before attempting the combo. Because he would have to try to win small ball after that, and every life point could matter.
All right, just says go. You're up. And now we know Bellamy has Summoner's Pact. Oh,
So
okay.
he's going for the Boseiju instead of the Haywire Might.
I don't love this because you still give him a mana source, and Haywire Might doesn't. But maybe the Haywire Might being a creature you can sacrifice later does matter. And maybe that's the trick.
So his disruption is a little worse, but now his clock afterwards is a little bit better.
Yeah. And this is after Bellamy has drawn a card. So we'll go get a tapped something or another, and then that'll come in untapped thanks to the Amulet of Vigor. It'll be Commercial District. We will get a Surveil, but it doesn't help for this turn.
So that leaves Bellamy with only 5 mana, unless he has another piece of acceleration. He has 3 on the battlefield, and he gets 2 when he replays the Gruul Turf we know is in its hand, and only 1 amulet.
I did see Urza Saga.
Echoing Deeps is going to copy something.
Probably the Cave. We're going to say go. Okay, so Brandon Lex finds, looks like another Worn Soultrader. So we can play the beatdown game a little bit, and Worn Soultrader going to come in for 3.
Bellamy down to 13. And yeah, Lex just plays the Haywire Might. He's going to blow up the other amulet.
Yeah, I love this play. He's essentially, sacrificing his whole turn to do it, but it makes Bellamy's position much worse.
Lex goes up to 23 from the Haywire Might trigger.
Okay, we're not even going to use the Echoing Deep if it was the Urza's Cave, and we're going to pass it back. Urza Saga, though, can find another amulet. You have to think if you're Bellamy, maybe I should have played the Saga last turn. Here's Dismember. Maybe he had it all along. Maybe he had the combo straight up beaten the whole time. We'll see.
But Lex does have a replacement. And now Bellamy down to 9 from the Dismember. So this is a 3-turn clock.
Is this a Hedge Maze or a Botanical Sanctum? I believe that's a Botanical Sanctum. So one more land and he can just hardcast Primeval Titan, right?
There's no Botanical Sanctum in the deck.
Not Botanical Sanctum? The bounce land, Simic Growth Chamber. My apologies.
Yeah. The one on the battlefield is a growth chamber.
Yeah, that's what I thought from earlier. Okay, attack here for 3. Bellamy gonna go down to 6.
Yeah, so Bellamy has Pact in hand. He should have Titan next turn. This looks like Soul Cauldron and Fauna Shaman in hand for Lex.
Well, we can exile Haywire Might and then sack the Soultrader to Haywire Might on the Urza Saga, which not only destroys a land, but it also keeps an amulet off the battlefield.
Yeah, and you could wait and let Bellamy get the amulet, then deal with that. But it happens during the main phase, so Bellamy would have priority first to be able to play and get some mana off of the amulet before you're able to do that. So likely best to just hit the Saga, which also denies him the mana off the Saga itself. It will take away all the pressure that Lex has. Okay, so the Echoing Deeps was in Urza's Cave. That got sacrificed on the end step. Not sure what it's going to find.
Bajuka Bog. This is in response to the Agatha Soul Cauldron. So now we're not able to Haywire Might the land. And now that Soul Cauldron is resolved, Bellamy's going to get full combo online. Primeval Titan incoming.
Nifty little play for Ryan Bellamy. Lex deploys the Fauna Shaman. He's empty-handed, and I think this game is going Ryan's way starting this turn.
With only 1 amulet, I don't know that we can kill this turn, but we can certainly get Titan down and deploy a bunch of stuff. Floating 1 Saga finds Amulet of Vigor. This is the 3rd amulet. Only 1 left in the deck after this.
Trying to think what Lex could draw where he discards it with Fauna Shaman, finds another creature, and then with Soul Cauldron assembles a combo. If he draws the one of Spike Feeder, he could discard Spike Feeder to Fauna Shaman and find an Undying creature like Geralf's Messenger and start looping Geralf's Messenger with the Lord Soultrader.
Very cool.
So you sack the Geralf's Messenger for a treasure, it comes back, then you Agatha Soul Cauldron, the Fauna Shaman, and now, or the Spike Feeder, and now you can remove that counter from the Geralf's Messenger to keep the loop going.
Okay, Bellamy going to use the floating mana. Makes 1 for with Crumbling Vestige. Now Titan comes down and we go get 2 lands, one of which likely going to be Lotus Field. The other, not so sure. Looks like 2 Lotus Field. So we're going to try to full combo this turn, I think. See if Bellamy can figure it out. I don't think he's got very many cards left in hand, and the Agatha Soul Cauldron can eat something out of the graveyard, so we might actually have a way to break up the combo here. We'll have to see.
I think Bellamy could work around that with a Beseju, but all these cards are now in the graveyard, so you can tag a Lotus Field.
Yeah, taking away one of the Lotus Fields means that Amulet might not be enough, but I think we floated 6 mana here before we sacked, which means that we have 4 floating right now, and Aftermath Analyst is going to work.
But the Echoing Deep's going to be a second Lotus Field if Bellamy needs it to be.
Right.
So I don't think that's an issue. Problem here might be that Bellamy doesn't have a way to give the Primeval Titan haste.
Well, I don't know what his last card is, but we're getting back a lot of potential. One of which is Mycosynth Gardens, which can target Amulet of Vigor. And then we have Echoing Deep, which can go get Shifting Woodlands, which can copy the Aftermath Analyst. I did see something get exiled here, but I'm not sure what it was. If it was the Aftermath Analyst, this might be a way to break up the infinite part of the combo if there's no Lumra or way to get Lumra.
It does seem like the Analyst was the target,
okay,
which I think makes sense.
Okay, so here's all the lands. We have Echoing Deeps, Pajuka Bog, Crumbling Vestige, 2 Lotus Fields, Urza Saga, Talaria West, and Mycosynth Gardens.
The last card in Bellamy's hand is the Gruul Turf that we know about, right? So he can bounce the Talaria West now and keep going off?
I think he's played a land this turn already. Played the Crumbling Vestige earlier. I don't think he's played any way to play an extra land.
So yeah, this might stop him in his tracks, which would give Lex a chance to find his one outer Spike Feeder.
So there's no more lands left in the graveyard, but Echoing Deeps can copy one of the ones as it's coming onto the battlefield.
So I can see the Analyst on top of Bellamy's graveyard, so it must have been one of the lands that got exiled.
Okay.
But it wasn't Echoing Deeps.
All right, it seems as if we're entering the end of the combo sequence. Bellamy is going to sacrifice 4 lands because of the 2 Lotus Fields. We have at least 1 Urza Saga.
So sacrificing Lotus Field Commercial District to the first trigger, then Crumbling Vestige Pajuka Bog to the second.
Okay.
And I didn't see any move to float mana, so I agree with you. I think that means Bellamy's turn is effectively done. Okay. Rethinks it, sacks Urza Saga instead of one of the Lotus Fields.
Okay, and it looks like he has announced that Echoing Deep is copying Mycosynth Gardens, so we're going to be able to make 2 more amulets here.
Turn back to Brandon Lex. Can you find the Spike Feeder?
Can we get Mycosynth Gardens on screen? I'm curious if it can target your opponent's artifacts, because if we can, we might be able to copy Agatha Soul Cauldron, which can turn Primeval Titan into an Aftermath Analyst. You control. Never mind. Okay, that would have been really sweet, though. Okay, so...
Oh, this might be a combo regardless. So, you Fauna Shaman. You drew a creature. So now you find Gravecrawler. Then you sacrifice the Fauna Shaman to the Worn Soultrader. Then you turn your Soultrader into a Fauna Shaman with the Soul Cauldron. Then you can discard the Gravecrawler and find Marionette Apprentice, tap out for the Apprentice, then use the Servo to start the loop with the Gravecrawler in your graveyard.
I think you're right, and Brandon Lex is going pretty quickly here. He's looking at Boggart Trawler. I think you're right, though. I think with the Agatha Soul Cauldron, he just has it. That's a great find.
Well, he's got to find the Gravecrawler first, because that's the one you want to end up in the graveyard.
Well, he might not see Agatha's Fauna Shaman Gravecrawler, but that is the move. And that would work. I think Bellamy would lose. He does have a Gravecrawler pulled as third down.
I think he might just be thinking through the line. Because he knows he needs an apprentice later. I'm just thinking about Blood Artist would also be fine because you're generating a treasure with the Fauna Shaman, and that can start the loop with the Gravecrawler later on. But Bellamy's at a low enough life that either will kill.
Well, he hasn't put Gravecrawler on top of this stack yet, so if he doesn't get Gravecrawler, he's not killing this turn, I don't think.
Well, he found a Marionette Apprentice.
Or he's doing it in the reverse order, right? He could just go...
Bellamy's at 6. This might just be lethal anyway. So you get Apprentice. Does say another creature or artifact. So,
well, you can...
Oh, no. Okay, so now he's doing the line with the Fauna Shaman.
Well, we should have got Gravecrawler first, because now if we discard this Marionette... He just messed up. He just did it reverse. All the pieces were there, and he saw it, but he just did it in reverse.
That's tough.
Can we still do it? Can we still pitch it, go get Gravecrawler? No, right? Because we need another creature to Fauna Shaman with?
Then you just don't have access to the Marionette Apprentice, yeah.
Okay. And now, maybe even had it the other way if he waited to sack the Fauna Shaman for 1 second before he played the Apprentice, right?
Both Marionette Apprentice and Warren Soultrader only work with other creatures, so he only had 4 damage that way. 2 from Fauna Shaman plus Treasure, 2 from Servo plus Treasure.
Okay, well, gonna go back to Bellamy, and we know he has Gruul Turf in hand, so he can return Talaria West guaranteed, and he has the at least 2 amulets, and I think the Echoing Deeps is a third amulet here off of Mycosynth Gardens, but I'm not 100%.
That, as long as he can get the Talaria West into his hand and have another threat, this should be lethal. Because Lex no longer has any disruption, and 2 amulets, it's pretty trivial to set up the combo. 3, even easier.
Okay. Bellamy pays for Summoner's Pact, so the hard part's out of the way.
So he has 5 mana available now, and if his card is Gruul Turf, that's another 6, gets him to 11. He needs 9 to start the turn with Talaria West.
Found Expedition map. I'm not sure if that matters too much.
Expedition map should be fine because it can find Vesuva. And you Vesuva load... Oh no, that's not enough.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and crack it. With 3 Amulet and the Gruul Turf, we have 6 mana for a Titan right there, but we don't have enough blue necessarily. I guess if he had just floated mana...
Looks like he's looking at Shifting Woodland. But
yeah, and I guess the shields are down, but it does enter tapped, so it actually does untap a bunch and make mana. That's so sick.
Yeah, not many forests in this deck. So he's up to 5 mana now, which is enough. He needs 4 for the woodlands. He'll be able to activate it with the mana floating. And I'm not sure. Oh, he still has the Primeval Titan attack too.
Yeah,
that should make things easy. Although it does stop him from fully comboing, at least killing with the combo.
Yeah, but he can do the infinity thing where he Otawaras your whole board and Besages all your lands, and so I think after this sequence, Bellamy is going to be able to win somewhat easily.
So he finds Vesuva copying Lotus Field plus Mirror Pool. That will allow him to make another Primeval Titan. And I believe the Shifting Woodland is copying Aftermath Analyst. So he's just setting up the loop there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll obliterate Brandon Lex's board with Otawara and Besaging.
So this is still mid-combat. The Titan is triggered, found lands. We are using Vesuva to copy Lotus Field so we can sack 2 lands. Mirror Pool, copy Primeval Titan. We're going to spend most of our mana to do that.
So Lex is going to end this turn with only his basic lands on the battlefield. 2 swamps and a forest.
Can Beseiju target basics or no?
No, only non-basics.
Okay.
So Bellamy's going to be able to bounce all the permanents, all the creatures to Lex's hand. He'll be able to destroy the Soul Cauldron and all the non-basics and the treasure. So Lex will untap with 3 mana and a hand of Marionette Apprentice, Warren Soultrader. And I don't think he has any draw that can win from that spot. Because he'll need to draw a land just to do anything with the Soultrader after it. And if he draws a land, he doesn't have the combo.
Alright, so I believe we have a ton of mana floating, and we're channeling Ottawara here, bouncing Soultrader, and we can still Aftermath Analyst all the lands back, and this is just no blocks have even been declared. We're just still in the middle of declare attackers.
Yeah, Bellamy is not going to literally win the game this turn, but he should ensure that Lex can't win next turn and have a kill to follow it up.
So, I believe we found the kill with Gravecrawler, and then doing the Agatha Soul Cauldron Fauna Shaman. So if that was a kill, Brandon Lex potentially could have won this game, and that would have somewhat given him an excellent chance for top 8. As it stands, if that was the mistake, Bellamy here looks like we're going to win game number 2, and then we're going to have under 10 minutes left to play game number 3. So these players are going to have to pick up the pace when we get to that game 3, if that's what happens.
Yeah, and if you're Brandon Lex, it's likely to your benefit to concede this game right now. Give yourself more time.
Well, once Bellamy says, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is the loop, all your permanents are gone, and this is the board state at the end of it. Shifting Woodlands copies again. We just go bounce, 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 bounce. Get all these back. Bounce land puts Ottawara back in hand. And so once you explain that this is what I'm doing, it's all the non-land permanents with Ottawara are back in hand. And all the treasures are gone as well. And so Lex is going to just pack it in. Okay, so I don't know if it was a direct kill this turn, but without any position for next turn, I believe that that's going to do it for game number 2. So these players do have about 9.5 minutes left to shuffle up and play game number 3, but both of their decks can win very quickly and without too many turns invested into the game.
Yeah, Bellamy takes a while to win on the turn he's winning, but you get those 5 extra turns after time is called. Doesn't matter how long they take. As far as backup matches, I can tell you that Jonathan Fesmeyer defeated Ryan Hayes, Hollow 1 over Boros Energy. And looks like our other backup feature is still
Ryan
going.
lost?
Yeah. That's The backup feature you see still going there is Brendan Lane on Demir Murktide against Ethan Dunn on Boros Energy. Those players are also 4-1. So if this last game finishes quickly, we'll jump over to Lane and Dunn.
All right, players here shuffling pretty quickly here for game number 3. We're going to be underway. Brandon Lex on Soultrader going to be on the play. Let's see if he can assemble that combo kill quickly. Had it on turn 3 in game number 2, but it was disrupted multiple times over the next few turns by Bellamy. Let's see if he can do it again. Bellamy and Lex both going back to the drawing board, mulliganing to 6. Both decks, I think, working pretty well on low resources, right?
Yeah, it's really just about assembling the combo for the Soultrader deck, and we've talked about Amulet mulliganing well. Just having those lands that tap for a ton of mana once you have Amulet on the battlefield makes it very easy to undo mulligans, as does the card advantage from the One Ring and from Primeval Titan itself.
Mm-hmm. Any chance Bellamy cut the rings after sideboard because the Soultrader deck just kills him through it and doesn't interact much?
I mean, potentially. Yeah, Marionette Apprentice does not target and is a loss of life, not damage. So One Ring Protection does not help you against Marionette Apprentice. It does help you if Lex happens to draw the one of Blood Artist.
It's funny. Blood Artist kind of fell out of favor in the Yawgmoth decks in favor of Zulaport Cutthroat for that reason. Okay, 6-card hand for both. Let's see if we're keeping, and it looks like we both are. Now we're just going to put one back for each, and we'll be underway. Oh, I take it back. 6 for Lex and 5 for Bellamy. Looking for potentially better hand than what he saw in those opening 2, but now only 5 cards. Could be a tough game.
Still very capable of killing on turn 2 with a 5-card hand. 2 amulets, an untapped land, a Lotus Field, and a Primeval Titan. And turn 3 kills are even easier if you have an amulet and an Urza Saga. Then you just need a bounce land and a threat.
Okay, looks like we're keeping the 5, putting 2 back. And we're about to be underway. Bellamy really thinking about these last 2 cards to put back. Trying to find the best 5-card hand to potentially give himself a win on the draw. And here we go. Verdant Catacombs to play. No 1-drop. We're underway.
That's a good sign for Ryan Bellamy fans. It means there's going to be no turn 3 kill coming for Brandon Lex. Bellamy starts off well with Boseiju plus Amulet.
5.5 minutes left. Both players going to be playing pretty sharply here. Lex, fetching that Underground Mortuary, going to surveil 1, looking for combo pieces. Top card. Graveyard. It's a Soultrader. Interesting. Probably already has 1 in hand or needs lands very badly.
It does have a Soultrader in hand. It's like a
Overgrown Tomb. Going to take 2. There's Bloodghast. Bellamy. Draws for turn. The Amulet of Vigor in play. Plays Talaria West.
and Aftermath Analyst.
It's a nice one.
Micah Gardens, Otawara, and
A green card, can't tell.
but still 2 lands. Very solid. Ooh, there's a Soul Cauldron off the top for Lex. Could start chewing away at this graveyard to make the Analyst less effective.
It also turns anything into a Warren Soultrader if he wants it to, including that Bloodghast.
But Bloodghast is what you want to sack to the Warren Soultrader.
Right. Okay. Attack for 2 of the Bloodghast. This is a 1/3 Aftermath Analyst, but it's somewhat of a free block if your opponent, has the land to bring it back. It's just like no cost. Phyrexian Tower, I believe, is the land drop. Let's get Phyrexian Tower on screen. This is one of the more powerful lands and reprinted in recent memory. Can sack a creature to make 2 black mana, but it taps for colorless on its own. Really nice in these Warren Soultrader decks. Allows you to get die triggers as well as just extra mana in the early turns. With things like Bloodghast, it's quite powerful. Back Bellamy's way, though, after that Bogger Trawler eats the graveyard. And Bellamy on a mold of 5 with a somewhat dead Aftermath Analyst thanks to the Bogger Trawler, and we're in some trouble.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit of time here. Only 1 piece of the combo assembled thus far for Lex, and that's Warren's Soultrader.
Alright, see what Bellamy wants to do. This is turn number 3. See a Summoner's Pact. Don't know if we want to cast that one yet. Gonna float a blue. Talaria West. Bounce land coming. Cruel Turf. Talaria West back to hand. So that gives us up to 4 mana. Now he's rethinking. Maybe he just wants to return the Gruul Turf back so he always has that 2 mana land, but we're going to pick up the Talaria West. There's Summoner's Pact, so we are going to go for a quick Summoner's Pact here. I was mistaken. And we find Arboreal Grazer.
This is the another mode of Summoner's Pact, finding Grazer to generate additional mana.
Okay, so we have a blue floating still. So that plus this Gruul Turf means a Lotus Field in hand means Primeval Titan this turn, I believe. Whoa, Lotus Field, untap. 6.
Float some mana.
Now we gotta sack 2 lands, but then we get to cast Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
Lotus Field was such a sick hit there, man.
Bellamy could find, Lotus Field plus Echoing Deeps, copy Lotus Field, generate 6 more mana, sack the rest of his lands, then sack the Aftermath Analyst.
Yeah. We got a lot of stuff still happening
Yeah.
in this turn. Now we are getting really close to time, and I don't think Bellamy's turn is going to be done before this minute 30 is up. So that means if we hit time down to 0, Bellamy's going to be turn 0, and then Lex has turns 1, 3, and 5 of the 5 extra turns, and Bellamy has turns 0, 2, and 4 to potentially win the game. Here's Primeval Titan.
I think Bellamy's going to start with Lotus Field plus Mirror Pool, so that after the Analyst, he can Mirror Pool the Titan and keep going.
Crumbling Vestige.
So that represents 2 mana.
And
Okay, going
haste.
for Battlements first. Thought maybe Bellamy wouldn't want to get into combat initially. Could potentially kill this turn if he doesn't.
Maybe afraid of surgical extraction. Maybe surgical on Lotus Field is game over if he's not careful.
Nice. So the Vestige makes red for the Battlements. Titan now attacking.
I get 2 lands, and we're still in the declare attacker step. What we can do with those lands is pretty interesting. I like your play of Mirror Pool plus Lotus Field, but I believe to copy a creature it costs 5. I'm not 100% on that though.
But you can sack the Mirror Pool and along with another land along with the Lotus Field, use the mana to Analyst, and then Mirror Pool the Titan after the Analyst.
Awesome. Bellamy peels a Simic Growth Chamber. Okay, now we are entering into time. So, once the players know that we're in time, this will be turn 0.
Okay, just going for Bojuka Bog Growth Chamber. So I think Bellamy is going to play this one slow, and Lex will have a turn.
I guess just playing around surgical. I can't really. Maybe there's something I'm missing.
Bellamy has to remember he played a pact this turn, so he's going to need to pay 2 green next turn.
Right. We're just going to pass the turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine Bellamy's holding up some sort of interaction, whether it's Boseiju for a Birthing Ritual or Soul Cauldron or, a Dismember or something like that.
The graveyard did just get eaten. Thanks to that Bojuka Bog, and I think that Bellamy was a little scared of Cauldron on Warren Soultrader.
Yeah, so now, can you tell what that card
Stitcher
is?
Supplier was the draw.
Oh, that's the card he needed. So, that's a little bit of an awkward way to do it.
Well, we have the Phyrexian Tower, which we can use to sack.
Okay. I just want to get the Soultrader down
There's
before
Gravecrawler.
playing the fetch land.
I don't think that we have a way to drain life. We have the
Yeah.
Cauldron. We have the Cauldron plus Gravecrawler, or Warren Soultrader plus Gravecrawler.
And you can generate a bunch of mana with Soultrader Bloodghast fetch land.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's no. Trying to see if there's a card he can mill and then exile with Soul Cauldron that completes the combo.
Can we double check and make sure they know that we're in turns? I didn't see any indication from anyone.
There's a judge standing behind them, so
Okay.
I have to imagine they know.
My apologies.
Okay, there's another Bloodghast milled off the supplier, sacked to Phyrexian Tower. So black is in pool for Brandon Lex. There's a Marionette Apprentice as well, but I don't think there's a way for him to access it.
Yeah, no way to unearth it, bring it back.
Yeah, and Soul Cauldroning it doesn't do anything. It's a triggered ability, not an activated one. Yeah, Lex is so close to the combo here. If that Soul Cauldron was an unearth, he'd have it.
Here's the Soultrader.
Yeah, and now he can generate 1 mana with Bloodghast now, and then the fetch land represents another 5 mana because it's 4 Bloodghasts plus
Mm-hmm.
the land itself. So that's enough to play Soul Cauldron with mana to spare.
Yeah, but just nothing to do with all that extra material. Has a lot of mana and a lot of potential token sacrifices, but no payoff.
Yeah, it goes to 10 to make a treasure. Returns the 2 Bloodghasts with the Verdant Catacombs.
Probably just cast the Bloodghast, but I'm not sure if you get punished in any way for doing that.
Soul Cauldron just isn't good enough.
Okay.
Cracks the wood or the Verdant Catacombs, so down to 9.
Yeah, and he's not even sacking the Bloodghast because they take 1 damage per, and he's just afraid of dying to the Primeval Titan, which, yeah, sure.
He should be.
Probably dead a lot of other ways, but I think Bellamy's got it. Here's the Cauldron. Bellamy going to respond. Bring back all the lands. Is it just 2? It's Lotus Field and Gruul Turf. So we're going to return 1. And we're going to sack 2. And now we have the ability to besage you here at instant speed to kill the Soul Cauldron in case there are any shenanigans. So, smart play from Ryan there. Set that up previously to make sure that he was covered in case there was a Cauldron kill. Couldn't find the kill himself last turn, I guess.
Nope. But Bellamy should have a kill on his next turn.
Alright, so Brandon Leck's going to eat Fulminator Mage. I didn't see that one milled over. That's pretty hot. And we are going to target the Fulminator Mage. And Bellamy here can besage you in response. And so while the Fulminator Mage will get exiled and a counter will go on something, it won't see the Fulminator Mage until after. And Brandon Leck says that's enough. Taps the mat. Ryan Bellamy wins 2-1, moving to 5-1 and 1 step closer to the top 8.